My dear one, a silent act was carried out against you. It was orchestrated behind closed doors, whispered amongst those who wore false kindness. This all unfolded while you were trusting, focused, unaware of what lurked behind you. Now, the burden of that concealed action is ready to emerge. You might have felt a pressure without understanding its origin. You may have noticed changes without grasping their cause. It's common to doubt oneself when the issue lies elsewhere. This message isn't accidental. It comes as the period of secrecy draws to a close. What was hidden from your view never vanished, it lingered. It built an audience, observed reactions, and took note of moments, faces, and decisions. Now, it stands at the brink of revelation, poised to be acknowledged by more than just you. The unveiling won't be gentle, it will be clear and definitive, altering perceptions of the past and bringing clarity to your own confusion. Embrace this phase, as each moment from now is intricately linked to something larger than previously understood. Tune into what your instincts have been communicating. There were times when you felt uneasy without concrete reasons, days when something seemed askew, though nothing overtly wrong was apparent. Those feelings weren't mere imagination, they were your awareness breaking through denial. Others relied on your discretion and expected your patience, believing that you wouldn't piece things together, thinking you were too consumed by just getting through to uncover the reality. Yet, they underestimated the power of time. Time reveals patterns, exposes discrepancies, and causes facades to falter. Now, what existed solely in private discussions is beginning to emerge in public view. Those who dismissed your feelings will soon notice the details they overlooked, and the narratives that failed to add up will be reconsidered, with the once missing elements being acknowledged. This isn't about seeking revenge, it's about restoring balance, about truth craving the light. When truth finally sees the light of day, it doesn't whisper, it resonates strongly enough for everyone to hear. This is where the dynamics begin to change. The revelation won't occur as anticipated, it won't be a singular shocking disclosure but will unfold through reactions, changes in behavior, and distances growing in conversations once deemed secure. Someone might hesitate at the mention of your name or avoid making eye contact when the topic comes up. Others might attempt to alter the narrative, oblivious to the fact that the evidence no longer belongs to them. You will pick up on this first, having lived in confusion long enough to recognize clarity when it finally arrives. In this new role, you'll become an observer of others as they unravel, and that reversal holds great power. Once the truth starts to move, it continues on its course. It touches all corners, reaching individuals who previously subscribed to a manipulated version of events. Recognize this deeply and take your time with it. What transpired against you is far from trivial, it has influenced your self-esteem, shaped your choices, and altered how you viewed yourself in moments of doubt. This forthcoming realization will help others understand that your reactions were valid, not overreactions, that your distance served as protection, not aloofness, and that your silence represented strength, not weakness. This awakening won't demand your explanations. The truth will speak for itself, making this moment all the more significant because, for once, the narrative shifts from those who thrived on your misunderstanding back to reality. And reality requires no embellishments, it only needs acknowledgement. Stay present as this final layer sets in. You're entering a phase where validation comes naturally, where confusion makes way for clarity, and where the unveiling of what was obscured brings tranquility instead of turmoil. This is just the beginning of a new equilibrium, unraveling not only what was done to you, but also why it could not remain hidden any longer. As the truth spreads, it will shelter you in ways yet to be seen. Stand firm, keep your awareness keen, and remember this moment. When everything comes to light, you'll realize you were never behind schedule, you were right where you needed to be. Beloved one, what is unfolding now was initiated long before you were aware of being observed, measured, and quietly discussed behind the scenes. The silence that once cloaked the truth is beginning to fracture, not due to a choice for honesty, but because lies require constant maintenance to stay intact. Those who thrived while keeping you in the dark now feel the burden of their own creation. You may sense it in subtle shifts, in restless energy, or in conversations that seem to change course entirely when you arrive. This isn't mere coincidence, it indicates pressure. This is the moment when secrets realize their safety is compromised. As that awareness broadens, so does the urgency of those who hoped you would remain oblivious. Stay vigilant, for the next signs may not be overt, they will be precise, insightful, confirming what your instincts have long hinted at. Pay attention to people's reactions rather than their words. While language can mislead, reactions tend to be more genuine. You will see nervous laughter where assurance once thrived, over-explanations filling the gaps where silence used to suffice, and unexpected kindness that seems hurried and uncalled for. These signs are not gestures of goodwill, they signal fear. Someone is beginning to grasp that the narrative they crafted is slipping from their grasp. Information makes its way outside of designated boundaries, one connection sparks another, and suddenly, the previously mistaken views of you begin to crumble. This is how exposure unfolds, not through confrontation but through a collective understanding born out of shared insights. The truth doesn't need declaration, it spreads when enough individuals quietly arrive at the same conclusion collectively. Consider why this is happening now and not sooner. You simply weren't ready before. Premature truths might have overwhelmed rather than liberating you. You needed to learn while believing inaccuracies, to build strength while facing misunderstanding, to achieve clarity by navigating uncertainty alone. That preparation is now complete. The forthcoming revelations will not destabilize you, they will instead bring stability. Newly connected insights will appear, and motives that once confounded will become clear. You will grasp the reasons why certain opportunities closed while others remained unopened. This is not a punishment for the ones who concealed information from you but rather a step towards alignment for you. Alignment transforms the entire trajectory of your life. Grasp this importance at this stage. Not everyone meant harm, however, all participated in the silence. Some followed along to avoid disagreements, some accepted partial truths for convenience, while others prioritized comfort over integrity. Value intentions may differ, but the impact is significant. What happened to you affected your trust, self-assurance, and security in ways that soon others will need to confront. This acknowledgement might not come with every individual offering apologies. Some will withdraw, some might feign ignorance, some will fade quietly from your world. Allow them to leave. Their absence is part of the restoration. You're not responsible for carrying individuals who needed your confusion to feel secure. Exposure will naturally help differentiate those ready to embrace the truth from those who aren't. Stay resolute as this chapter deepens. You may experience moments of relief intertwined with sadness, relief from realizing you weren't wrong, and grief for the time spent in self-doubt. Each is valid, but neither will remain forever. What will endure is the clarity that follows. Truth is patient but relentless, and once it gains momentum, it pushes through without stopping. What was secretly done is breaking free, affecting dialogues, shifting beliefs, and reshaping narratives without your initiative. This is merely the second layer being revealed, with more layers yet to come. As the next phase begins, you will understand that this revelation influences not only the past but also safeguards your future in unforeseen ways. Now, my dear one, as truth moves faster than those who tried to suppress it, what once required effort to conceal is now escaping through cracks they cannot seal. The very individuals who felt secure in their silence start to feel exposed, though they may not fully understand why. You may detect tension where there used to be comfort, urgency may replace control. This stage sees hidden actions losing their power because secrecy only flourishes when everyone participates in preserving it. That consensus is breaking. One recollection elicits another, one inquiry sparks several more, leading the fabricated narrative that isolated you to disintegrate from within. You are not responsible for pushing this process forward, rather, you are patiently awaiting as truth catches up to reality. This moment is unstoppable. There's great significance in how this revelation is unfolding. It's not a dramatic spectacle, it is intentional, carefully paced, layered to ensure nothing fundamental is overlooked. Those who once dictated information are realizing they can no longer control who knows what, and that uncertainty is more distressing than direct confrontation ever could be. You will intuitively feel this change before visually perceiving it. A newfound calm will replace the anxiety you have borne for such a long time. This calm isn't indifference, it is certainty, the quiet confidence that arises when you no longer require external affirmation to validate your experiences. Because the answers are revealing themselves through the reactions, withdrawal, changes in demeanor, and newfound distance from previous connections. All confirm what you sensed was authentic, what remained hidden was deliberate. This phase also marks a transformation in your perspective of the past. Instances that previously perplexed you will begin to clarify. Conversations that felt unfinished will suddenly resonate with enlightenment. Decisions made by others that once appeared haphazardly will now seem intentional. This clarity arrives not to reopen old wounds but to heal them effectively. You are being granted the comprehensive view not to linger on it but to let it go finally. As this image becomes defined, an extraordinary shift will occur. Power shifts entirely, those who relied on your doubts lose their advantage, and those who underestimated your insight diminish in their influence. Without altering your actions, you become anchored in a truth that cannot be obscured again. This grounding is enduring. Recognize what this exposure accomplishes on a more profound level. It doesn't just correct the facts, it restores your trust in yourself. For too long, you questioned your instincts because the external narrative contradicted your internal sentiment. That divide is now closing. Your inner voice and external reality are beginning to align once more. This alignment is transformational. Making decisions will come with newfound confidence, you will feel less compelled to explain your choices, and no longer will you seek affirmation from those who never truly acknowledged you. This is not arrogance, it is self-recognition. Truth is reminding you of who you were before confusion took hold. Once that realization is reclaimed, there is no return to accepting confusion as ordinary. Stay composed as this phase concludes its work. Not every truth will manifest all at once. Some will arrive softly while others emerge through silence, all with a distinct purpose. What was hidden from you no longer shapes your present, it is exposed so that it cannot dictate your future. As this understanding takes root, you might sense a quiet resilience replacing the emotional weight you have carried for far too long. This strength is unassuming, simply present. As the exposure continues beyond this point, it will demonstrate how liberating the truth can be. Now enters a phase where silence speaks louder than words ever could. Those who once felt assured maintaining a particular version of events are starting to recognize that the environment surrounding them has shifted. They sense judgments without hearing direct accusations, feel scrutiny without confronting questions. This is because the truth carries its presence. Once it starts to surface, it alters the atmosphere, how discussions unfold, and how individuals present themselves. Be mindful of the pauses that arise where there was previously certainty, and the distance now evident where there was once comfort. None of this occurs by chance, it is the natural response as exposure nears its conclusion. You are no longer the one engulfed in uncertainty, others are now experiencing it. As that shift occurs, something subtle but significant is developing within you. You're no longer waiting for validation to feel secure, the need to rehearse explanations fades away. The urge to defend your reality diminishes because your reality is now protecting you. This internal transformation is crucial. It ensures that when the complete truth emerges, it reinforces you rather than overwhelms. You're not reacting, you're merely observing, and observation creates a vital distance from pain. That distance gives room for wisdom to insert itself. You are beginning to recognize that your pain stemmed from isolation within your awareness rather than your awareness itself. That isolation is ending, and others are beginning to see what you carried alone. This shared acknowledgement lightens a burden you were never meant to shoulder by yourself. This phase also reveals who can accept the truth and who cannot. Some may feel discomfort as clarity spreads, not due to guilt over actions, but rather from their avoidance. Truth requires accountability from even those who benefited passively. This will manifest in who chooses to remain engaged and who subtly withdraws. Don't chase answers, seek not closure from those unwilling to face themselves. Their inability to engage serves as a confirmation of your reality. You're learning that not every conclusion necessitates a conversation, some closure happens simply through understanding. This understanding is arriving now, piece by piece, with intention and clarity. Beneath the surface, a deeper restoration is unfolding. Your sense of self is reorganizing without distortion, the aspects of you which were dulled by doubt are regaining their strength. The confidence that once felt precarious is returning organically. You're starting to trust your timing, your judgment, and your discernment. This restoration is subtle, it doesn't demand recognition. It quietly shifts how you navigate through life. You may find yourself reacting less, feeling defensive less often, and compromising your clarity for temporary appeasement less willingly. This growth is rooted in truth and is inexorable. Once clarity is attained, it becomes impossible to revert back to confusion. Stay grounded as this chapter progresses. What was done to you in secrecy is diminishing in its impact, even before every detail is disclosed, its influence is evaporating. This is the essence of exposure. It doesn't require full illumination to nullify harm, even partial light is sufficient to dissolve shadows. You now stand within that light, calm, aware, and steady. As the next phase unfolds, you'll come to understand that this exposure not only rectifies the past but also equips you for a future where no hidden truths can exercise dominion over you again. My dear one, this marks the moment when truth ceases to circle and begins to settle. What once lingered in suspicion now materializes as understanding. You might recognize it as a gentle certainty rather than an explosive epiphany. The exposure is no longer approaching, it is actively manifesting in irreversible ways. People are recalibrating their actions as they feel that pretense no longer provides protection. Conversations are becoming more cautious, decisions increasingly defensive. This is the nature of truth when it intermingles with shared perception, it compels adjustment. While you remain composed, others scramble to find their footing within a reality they never expected to confront. You are not required to confront anyone yourself, your steady demeanor suffices. When truth becomes apparent, it requires no amplification, it only requires time to be genuinely recognized. Pay attention to the changes in your emotional landscape, the heaviness you once bore is lifting, even if the reasons remain elusive. The urgency to be acknowledged is fading. You no longer seek validation from those who contributed to your confusion. This transition is potent, signify. In your worth is no longer tethered to external approval. You are reclaiming your narrative, allowing it to exist in its authenticity, and that genuineness crafts an unshakable foundation. Individuals encounter you differently now that your confidence is unclouded. They sense it, they respect it, even if they vocalize it. That transition within you is part of the exposure itself, indicating that truth has completed its work. At this juncture, clarity breeds discernment. You begin to distinguish between motives driven by fear and those resonating with intention. You recognize patterns intuitively without the need for repetitive analysis. This discernment is quiet yet decisive, guiding you toward supportive environments and away from those that drain you. You may spontaneously create distances from certain dynamics without guilt or justification. This is not avoidance, this is alignment. The exposure, thus, doesn't just reveal what was concealed, it also uncovers where you genuinely belong. That realization is shaping your future more than you currently comprehend. Additionally, a release is occurring that warrants your attention. You are letting go of the version of yourself that waited, that held out hope others would align with honesty, that remained patient in uncertainty for too long. That aspect of you served a purpose, helping you navigate a period when information was withheld, but it is no longer necessary. You're evolving into a version of yourself that trusts timing, recognizes truth, and moves on confidently. This release might feel muted, yet it bears significant weight. It signals the conclusion of self-doubt and the commencement of self-assurance rooted in reality. Remain grounded as this transformation reaches its completion. What was done to you in secrecy no longer dictates your identity. The exposure has stripped it of its power. What endures is clarity, strength, and a sense of direction. You're no longer harboring resentment. Instead, you carry understanding, which is lighter than anger, stronger than denial, and far more enduring than fear. As the truth unfolds from this point onward, you will observe your path become clearer, your decisions easier, and your peace a well-deserved result. This is not mere coincidence, it is a logical outcome of truth finally being allowed to exist in the open. My beloved, we now enter the phase where truth no longer necessitates movement to assert itself. It simply exists, unshakable and established, transforming everything around it effortlessly. What was once concealed is no longer active or shaping outcomes. Even those who refuse to acknowledge it can sense its presence. The exposure has reached a stage where denial demands more effort than adopting reality. While they contend with their internal struggles, you remain grounded. You don't seek results or anticipate responses. You are present, calm, steady, aware that this chapter has concluded. The moment you cease to seek affirmation, truth reaches its fullness. A quiet authority is forming within you. It doesn't stem from dominance, but rather from certainty. You're no longer striving for accurate representation, you are simply being yourself without distortion. Such authenticity shifts how others interact with you. Some may adopt caution, some may show respect, some will distance themselves. All these responses mirror their relationship with truth, not a measure of your value. Conversations will carry a different tone, questions will be posed with greater care, and assumptions will be made less frequently. This is the clarity's effect. When truth is present, it recalibrates the surrounding environment. Without altering your demeanor, you transform into someone who can no longer be misrepresented. This is also the time when protection becomes identifiable. Situations that once entangled you in confusion will lose their grip on you. You'll discover some opportunities fading without effort, while others emerge surprisingly easily. This is no coincidence, it's the alignment responding to your awareness. The exposure of obscured truths has removed barriers you were unaware of, unencumbering your path. Decisions feel lighter, bereft of the burdens of incomplete information. Your intuition sharpens, free from contradiction by false narratives. This clarity operates like a shield, filtering what enters your life and what does not. And this protection endures. Understand the gravity of your journey. You've faced uncertainty without clear explanation, bore awareness without support, and learned to trust yourself amid doubt. That process was not designed to break you but to refine you. The results of this refinement are now evident. You no longer react. You no longer strive to correct misconceptions. You no longer clarify your boundaries. You simply embody your truth, which others either respect or withdraw from. This embodies growth born from experience. It cannot be taught, only earned. Carry this awareness forward. What was done to you in secrecy has fulfilled its purpose by being exposed. Its relevance has diminished to merely a reminder of your resilience. You are not defined by what was concealed but by how you maintained your steadiness until truth emerged on its own. This phase is not an ending, it is a stabilization. Henceforth, your life will evolve from clarity rather than confusion. As you continue your path, you will uncover that nothing hidden can ever disturb your peace again, for you have become adept at identifying truth long before it proclaims itself.